And welcome back everybody to Let's Play Sonic Origins Plus. In the last episode, we were going through the Game Gear section still, and we went and played the entirety of Sonic Spinball for the Game Gear. I like that game. I prefer the Genesis version more. It's going to be a common issue with a lot of these ports, so just keep that in mind. And in today's episode, we are going into probably one of the better Game Gear games on the handheld. We're going into another platformer. This is Sonic the Hedgehog Triple Trouble, the sequel to Sonic Chaos. It was originally released only on the Game Gear. Dr. Eggman is not the only one looking to claim the Chaos Emeralds, as Knuckles and Fang also enter the fray. I think this is the first time we've encountered Fang, here in this playthrough. So yeah, well, without further ado, let's jump on into the game. Okay, so now we're going to be playing the next game on our list here. This is Sonic Triple Trouble. Sonic the Hedgehog Triple Trouble. And this is our first Game Gear that has Knuckles in it. This is the sequel to Sonic Chaos on the Game Gear. As you can see, Knuckles is taking all the Chaos Emeralds, but Eggman also has one. So Sonic's chasing after both of them. But little is it known, because it isn't really shown on the title screen or the opening movie, it's called Triple Trouble for a reason. There's 3 different villains in this game. There's Knuckles, there's Eggman, but there's also Fang the Sniper, or Fang the Hunter, whatever you want to call him, the different aliases that he goes by. Fang was a character that showed up in a lot of the earlier Sonic games. We'll get into more of his character, but he kind of has a resurgence nowadays because he's one of the main antagonists for the game Sonic Superstars, which just released a couple of years ago. But yeah, this game is really fun. I love Triple Trouble to death. It's actually probably, in my opinion, the best platformer, Sonic platformer on the Game Gear. By far. This takes a lot of what made Sonic Chaos good and really made it a lot more fun to play. I love Sonic's sprite work in this game. His sprite work is really wonderful. But yeah, here we're in Green Turquoise Zone. The main goal here in this game, in order to get the Chaos Emeralds, you have to collect 50 rings. And once you have collected 50 rings, you need to find a certain monitor in the stage here. And once you have 50 rings, it'll have like a Chaos Emerald in the monitor. And then you open it up and it warps a portal in the way. And that way you can jump into it and go into the special stages. One thing I also want to mention is whenever you're... right here, this monitor. As soon as you have 50 rings and you break open this monitor, you jump into it and you get transported to the special stage. The special stages are a little bit different. It's more of a get to the end of the course and the time limit kind of... it's kind of like how Sonic Chaos had it. Sonic Chaos had something similar. But all of them are in these like ruin-esque type rooms. And honestly, as much as my biggest gripe in this game is the special stages, really. And it's more or less the fact that it's really, really strict with its time. And you have to get used to the platforming mechanics. As you can see with Sonic, he has 2 different types of jumps. He can jump on a spring. Whenever he gets on the spring, it'll kind of like not turn him into a ball. It'll like bounce him while he's still like uncurled. And then you have the traditional curled form. The traditional curled form is not to, like, certain things you could do to break rocks while you're in curled form, and sometimes you need those rocks in order to use as platforms, and you don't need to break them. So you gotta be in the uncurled motion in order to get on top of them. Also, one thing with Sonic 2 is when you're in the uncurled motion and you push the jump button again, you could go into curled motion. But anyways, this is Fang the Hunter. He goes by many aliases because he's a bounty hunter. But here in the first special stage, he doesn't really do anything. He thinks he's activated a fire trap, but it actually backfired on him. So the first special stage is kind of a freebie. You don't have to fight him. But in the later special stages, we're going to have to fight Fang in order to get the Chaos Emerald. So just keep that in mind for later. But yeah, whenever you are in the uncurled motion when you're jumping, if you push the jump button again, Sonic will go into the curled motion just momentarily. That'll actually help in some of these stages here whenever you're trying to avoid getting hit by the enemies when you're jumping on springs. If you want to avoid getting hurt while you're in the middle of it, you just push jump again and it goes you into curled form, and that'll destroy the robot. It's a long-winded explanation, but it took me a little bit in order to figure it out. Well, I'll tell you more about it when we get to Act 3, Great Turquoise Zone. But yeah, every stage has a Chaos Emerald to get, so we're going to be trying to get all the Chaos Emeralds in proceeding order here. This is another Rocket Boots upgrade that we got from like Sonic Chaos and whatnot. It does the exact same thing. You saw that Sonic had the spring upgrade from the first stage. That kind of came back. Sonic has a couple of more gimmick-like upgrades in this game compared to Sonic Chaos. Sonic Chaos had only the rocket boots and the spring, but this one has a little bit more, but we'll get into more of that when we get there. But yeah, in Great Turquoise Zone, we kind of want to try to grab some of these rings that are on top of these palm trees. And I really like Great Turquoise Zone. It's kind of a cool stage, and it kind of gets you into the motion. It kind of teaches you a lot of the mechanics that this game has, including the whole curled and uncurled thing that you have to do in this game. But yeah, this game is really fun. I think it's by far the best platformer in the Game Gear library. I wouldn't say it's the best game in the Game Gear library. We'll get into more of that later. But it's definitely probably my second favorite game on the Game Gear. We want to come down here and try to... If you get hit for whatever reason, you don't lose all your rings. You lose like kind of like a set number of them. I can't remember exactly how many you got. Sonic's got more of the bouncing off the surface of the water mechanic that he had in Sonic Chaos. But here, we want to take the lower path here towards the end of the stage. And once we come up here, we'll be in the foreground. And that will give us to the Chaos Emerald monitor here. And then we can jump into the portal here and we'll get our second Chaos Emerald. Now, every even Chaos Emerald, they have a different special stage. You are flying in the tornado, and you have to collect 80 rings before you can get the Chaos Emerald. So, on Chaos Emerald 2 and 4, because there's only 6 Chaos Emeralds in this game, you have to do this flying minigame in order to collect as many rings as you can. Luckily, they're really kind of generous with the Chaos Emerald, or with the rings here. You don't have to get all of them in order to... They'll give you plenty of options to get rings. As you can see, I'm missing a lot here. But yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt sometimes with the depth perception and everything. Unfortunately for me, this style of Chaos Emerald hunting, where you have to... It kind of has like some sort of half pipe, and the depth perception is really off, is going to come back in a future game. And I'm not really looking forward to it, because one thing I'll tell you about this, as good as it is to get all these, because this is easy to get, that game isn't. Anyways, after you collect all the 80 rings in this special stage, Fang will wake up and he'll be like, oh, I got a job to do, gotta protect the Chaos Emerald. And he's gonna be on top of this giant, like, bumper machine. And luckily for you, all those rings that you got in the special stage will kind of help you here. Luckily for us, this first boss with Fang is super easy. And Fang's like, oh crap, well, I'm gonna have to flee for right now. You're not a very good bounty hunter, Fang. You really aren't. Anyways, we got our second Chaos Emerald. Like I mentioned before, this game has 6 Chaos Emeralds, but we can only collect 5. Again, kind of like in previous Sonic games on the Game Gear, the last Chaos Emerald is held by a boss that we have to defeat later, so yeah. We're just gonna be collecting 5 in special stages. I don't know. I don't know why these Game Gear games are so adamant on 6 Chaos Emeralds instead of 7. Because, look, I know they have like 6 Chaos Emeralds in the first Sonic game on Genesis, but after that they started doing 7. And a lot of these Game Gear games came out after Sonic 2 came out, so I don't know why they they're so hell-bent on 6 Chaos Emeralds, but whatever. Anyways, this is Act 3, Great Turquoise. Don't forget those rings that are on top of the palm tree I just picked up. Trust me, you will want them if you're trying to fight this boss. This boss isn't hard, but if you don't remember where those rings are, you're gonna be fighting this boss without rings, and that's not very fun. Anyways, giant turtle here. First couple hits will make it a little bit easier. This right here is where you're going to have to learn how to do that uncurl curl tactic, because in order to reach him up here at the second phase here, we're going to have to jump on these little turtles with the springs on, and that's going to put him in an uncurled motion, and then you have to push the jump button again to put him in curled motion to jump on top of the turtle, damaging him. If that makes any sense. So you gotta have to this boss teaches you how to do this mechanic. And honestly, I'm kind of glad, because this mechanic's actually a really good mechanic. But anyways, that was the first boss. Not too hard, but yeah. Anyways, hi Knuckles. Knuckles is evil in this game. I don't know why. I think this game takes place after Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So why would Knuckles be evil? Why would Knuckles be helping Eggman again? Man, did you get tricked again? Did you get tricked again, Knuckles? Anyways, we're here at Sunset Park, Act 1. This stage is kind of fun. You get in these little mine carts. You have to, I think, hold the down button in order to get them to move whenever you're inside them. But yeah, this stage is pretty fun. I like the stage a lot. There's a lot of rings right here. You can pick up like pretty much all your rings that you need for the Chaos Emerald. But one thing with this is it has a bunch of these fans here. And if you hit the fans, for some reason they kind of like gimp your jump and make you fall down. Yeah, like that. It's kind of weird. I guess it's because the wind is blowing. I don't know what the explanation is for that, but yeah. We want to go back because I actually want to be up there where the invincibility is, because the Chaos Emerald monitor is right up here, I think. You have to keep following this path here. There's a bunch of rings here. And to keep going this way, avoiding the spring there, you gotta jump up here. And get these rings, because you want extra rings. I think if you have to come... Is it down here or else? Oh, no, it's on top of this loop-de-loop. That's right. You gotta come up here on the top of the loop-de-loop. And we're going to use the spring here. Well, if I can aim correctly. Yeah, there we go. And you get on top of this monitor for the Chaos Emerald. And there we go. Now we can go into the third special stage. These stages get a lot harder. The odd number special stages where you have to traverse a stage in order to get to the end here. These stages get a lot tougher. Third is pretty bad. The fifth one is... I don't like the fifth one very much. Here, they introduce these, like, balls of, like... These energy balls showing up in the background. I don't know what they do, because I don't know if they hurt you or not. Because as you see, I jumped right into one of them, and I don't know if they're just background pieces, or they're actually enemy placements, or what. I don't know. But for right here, we're going to have to jump up this way, and this is going to be the weird part. We're going to have to jump on certain these platforms to make certain disappearing blocks appear. And it's always in these like these square boxes right here in order to get across this chasm right here. And break these rocks here, try to get as quickly as I can, because timer is running ever so closely and break these rocks here. I'll tell you what about the breaking rocks thing. It's going to be really annoying in the next special stage. Well, not in the next special stage. I mean, the 5th special stage. The next one of these that we have to do. As you can see, I'm running close on time, so I gotta hurry. But we're right here at the end. As soon as I go through here, we'll be running into Fang the Weasel again. He is a weasel. They call him Fang the Hunter, Fang the Sniper, or Fang the Weasel. He's kind of this boss is kind of weird. I mean, he just comes and just, you know, flies at you. It only takes 3 hits to defeat him. He's really not that hard. But yeah, Fang is kind of an interesting character. I think, like I said, he showed up in a lot of earlier Sonic games. The one I remember him mostly for is Sonic the Fighters, which was a fighting game. I know he showed up in a lot more, but recently he showed up in Sonic Superstars as the main villain. In one of the main villains in that game. And oh boy, I have a lot of things I can talk about with Sonic Superstars. Oh boy, so you know what? I'll get into that later because this is a 2-hour video, as you can see at the bottom there. Yeah, as you can probably guess, because we have the option to play as Sonic and Tails, we're going to be covering both characters. But I'll get into more talking about that later when we're doing Tails, and I pretty much covered everything I wanted to cover. Anyway, Sunset Park Act 2. We start out in this minecart, and we just gotta collect more rings here. One thing I have to mention about Sunset Park is this one doesn't really have a traditional Act 3, and it's the only stage that doesn't have an Act 3. It's kind of weird. It does, but it doesn't. We're gonna ride these rocket shoes until we get to the top here. Kill that Moto Bug inside this minecart here. We want to jump across there. The monitor that we're looking for is on this upper path here. We just want to keep rolling around at the speed of sound. Try to jump over this spring here. This spring is kind of annoying placement here. But past this spring, I think we're going to be running into... Yeah, right here. There's the Chaos Emerald monitor. And now we're getting the 4th Chaos Emerald. We have to get another set of 80 rings in this segment here. I mentioned before, this isn't too bad because they're very lenient on giving you rings, and it goes for a long time. It doesn't, like, I don't know. I never really failed these special stages. But yeah, like, later, when we do another game that does the same sort of perspective with trying to get rings, oh boy, I'm going to be complaining a lot in that one because that game's perspective is horrible. I hate it, trying to get these special stages. But yeah, I'm going to be flying around, trying to get more of these rings here. To kind of just know what pattern they're in, kind of move around the screen as much as you can. I think if you hit those bumpers... I should admit, yeah, those bumpers don't make you lose rings. So I don't think any obstacles actually hurt you. They just make you stunned for a minute. So, I mean, I guess that is kind of detrimental if you're trying to collect rings, so. Try to grab as many as I can here, and there we go. We got 80. So now, we're going to be fighting Fang the Sniper again. Fang the Hunter, Fang the Sniper, Fang the Weasel. I don't know which one to call you. This boss is kind of weird. He has this giant missile. He's laughing at you. And he, you know, comes flying around all over the place. But the main goal of this is not to just keep attacking him. We want this missile to hit him. So if we jump up here and come back and hit him, that destroys him. That's the main goal of this fight. You don't attack him. You have to guide the missile into destroying his robot. There we go. We got 4 of the Chaos Emeralds. I also love Sonic's idle animation in this game. That's why I kind of try to get him to idle as much as I can, because Sonic has a lot of character in this game. His sprite is probably the best I've seen in this game. I love Sonic's sprite in this because it really captures his attitude. captures what makes Sonic Sonic. And especially his idle animations are so funny. But that's the end of Act 2 of Sunset Park. And like I said before, Sunset Park doesn't really have an Act 3. Because as soon as you beat Sunset Act 2, you're kind of automatically thrown into the boss. There's no transition, no score, no nothing. So this is technically Sunset Park Act 3. The boss is kind of weird. It's on this giant train. We have to keep running along this pathway, trying to avoid the gaps here, because if you fall down the gaps, that's an instant death. And we just have to destroy these badniks as soon as they come onto the screen, so... yeah, you just have to keep on running. This segment can take a little bit, so... you just gotta keep on attacking. I think the gap segment is only during, like, the beginning portion of this run here. But eventually, you're gonna get to the end of this railroad here. As soon as we kill all these badniks here. There we go. We get to the train. So, he's gonna ever so fire a spike ball at you every now and then, so you just gotta jump over it, attack it, and this boss is super easy. Once you do that, you attack him 3 times, that's the end of the boss. The boss is really simple. It's really not that bad. But yeah, there's see, it says Act 3. We didn't really even get our score from Act 2, but we were Act 3. It's kind of weird. It's like the only stage that does that. But after that, we are in Metal Jungularia Zone? Meta Jungularia Zone. I've never... that is such a weird name. But it's another jungle zone. We just jump... it kind of reminds me more of, like, Collision Chaos from Sonic CD, where it has a bunch of these, like, bubbles that you have to pop in order to advance further, and it has a bunch of these springs here. I don't know what they were trying to go for with this stage. It's more of a jungle, but it really does feel like Collision Chaos Zone in Sonic CD. I'm trying to grab as many rings as I can, because, strangely enough, the Chaos Emerald monitor in this stage is really at the beginning of the stage rather than the end. Because in case you haven't noticed, all the Chaos Emerald monitors have been like at the end of the stage for the most part. This one right here is not that far. It's like literally right here. If we come down here, in that segment right there, in that little hole, there is a Chaos Emerald monitor, but we don't want to activate it yet because we don't have 50 rings. So I'm going to come down here, shoot out these little Donkey Kong barrels and get more 50 rings. And then we're going to come down here into this nook, and there's our Chaos Emerald monitor right here. And now we can access our last Chaos Emerald we have to get through in this playthrough. Well, one we have to earn. This special stage, oh gosh, I don't like this special stage. So right here, we want to jump on the spring here in order to be uncurled to get that life there, if you want to get that life. I think that's the first life I've got in this game. But yeah, this one kind of really tests you on how to do the curled, uncurled motion. So you're going to have to come down here, break these blocks with our curled motion. And if we keep coming down this way, avoiding all the springs, right here is another segment of these disappearing blocks that we have to jump in the background. Luckily for you, they're like really easy patterns, like a staircase. But we want to jump on this platform as soon as we can because that platform does not come back down. So just be careful. Now here, okay, this part is kind of annoying. We kind of want to be in an uncurled motion because we want to land on that block there in order to spin dash. And right here, we don't want to break these blocks right here. We have to be uncurled in order to jump on top of these so we have enough height to hit this segment. Now this segment, we're going to have to jump on each one of these blocks as close as we can because if you go in an angle, Sonic kind of like tilts a little bit away and it gets a little bit harder to get on top of the platform here. But as soon as we get through here, there we go. That's the end of it. This special stage is hard. I don't like this special stage very much. Now Fang has got a giant drill dozer. And he's going to come down here and start laughing, and he's going to try to drill you with his big old drill bit. Come over here and just power drill him, and he's going to go on the ground and just keep attacking him. Eventually, this boss fight's going to end a little bit different than the last ones. As soon as you hit him enough times, he's going to finally do a drill attack on the ground. And he's going to get stuck. During that segment, you want to jump on him and just ground pound him into the ground. And that's how you defeat him. And there we go. We got our last Chaos Emerald that we need to collect in these special stages. It's really not that hard. I just, gosh, this special stage. It took me a little bit to do this special stage because there's a lot of things that test your curled test knowledge thingamajig. You gotta know how to do the curled motions. But yeah, this is not at the end of the stage like the other the Chaos Emerald monitors. This is fairly early in the stage, so we still gotta finish the stage. In case you haven't noticed, we've been trying to finish. After you finish a special stage, it pops you back out where the monitor was, and you have to finish the stage. And it doesn't finish the stage automatically like the Sonic Chaos does, which is very convenient because there's actually something I want to talk about with that in particular is once you beat a special stage and it pops you back out, it resets your timer. And it resets your timer back to 0-0. So, if you technically, with all these Chaos Emerald monitors towards at the end of the stage, sometimes you can get a very good time bonus with that Chaos Emerald thing because it spits you out at 0-0, you're technically beating the stage in like less than 10 seconds. And you'll get a very good time bonus for that. So, that's good to get extra continues and stuff like that. Luckily for me, I got the max amount of continues I can ask for at this point. We're just going to break through these things here and keep jumping. Eventually, we're going to get to the end of the stage here. I'm going to try to hit these dash pads here. And I want these rings. I'm like 10 away from getting an extra life. There we go. Yeah, 100 rings gives you an extra life, just like any old Sonic game. We just want to hit these things here. One thing with these like bubbles that you pop, it's so weird. Like whenever I was playing with these headphones in, like every time I hit a bubble, it would just make a noise, like you very clear noise. It's so weird. But there we go. We cleared Act 1 finally. That took a little bit. But then again, we had a special stage in the middle of it. And now we're going into Act 2 of Jungleria. Jungleria. I think that's how you call this stage. It's such a weird name. Now that we have all the Chaos Emeralds that we can get at the moment, we don't have all the Chaos Emeralds because the final boss has one. We can just clear these stages. We don't have to look for anything anymore. So we're just gonna, try to blaze through these stages as quickly as possible if we can. Not really worry about getting hit by enemies and losing our rings. That was one thing with this playthrough I had to really keep in mind during like the beginning half of the game, because as most Sonic games go, they're kind of like separated into two things. There's two parts of the game. The first part is you going out of your way trying to collect the Chaos Emeralds. Once you get all the Chaos Emeralds, then you can just blaze through the rest of the stages. It's usually how I play it, and I think that's usually how most people play. So, as soon as you try to get, we're in the second half of the playthrough now, where we just, we could just beat through the stage. We don't have to worry about getting ourselves hit, worried about, keeping rings for a certain goal. As you can hear, is an noise whenever you pop the balloon. I'm sorry, I notice little silly stuff like that. But there we go. We completed Act 2. And we did it in like 1:30. So I think that was a good score. That's why we got the Sonic icon. There we go. Got another continue. I think it's because I have 150,000 points at this point. Now we're going into Metal Jungleria Act 3. This is the boss stage. The bosses in this game I mentioned before. We had the train in Act 2 in Sunset Park, and then we had the giant turtle and turquoise. I think that's Turquoise Hill. I can't remember what it's called. I can't remember what anything's called anymore. I'm getting old. This is a giant caterpillar. I don't know if there's a I think it might be a giant caterpillar, but really he just swings around and you just have to jump on his head. Be careful when you're in the corners here, because he can hit you really easily, because his range is kind of weird. But if you jump right when he drops down, you can kind of hit him on the way up, so you kind of cheese the boss a little bit. But once you hit him enough times, he has like a desperation attack. He'll start shooting his segmented bodies while on fire. And you have to dodge them as much as you can while the fireballs are raining down. It goes on for a couple of seconds. I didn't know he had that many body segments to throw at me. But after we beat that, we beat the boss. And Knuckles will hit a button again, cause fire to jump up and transport us to the next stage. Yeah, we beat Act 3 of Meta Jungleria Zone. This one's easier to say. Robotnik Winter. Robotnik Winter Act 1. This is the snow level. And oh boy, I like this because we get an automatic snowboard upgrade. Yeah, Sonic is on a snowboard. I love this power-up so much. It makes Sonic go super fast. He can go across the ice here, and it keeps lasting until you crash into something, obviously. But I love that. I love that he has a little snowboard power-up. It's so cool. Kind of reminds me of Ice Cap Zone. I love that. I love Ice Cap Zone. It's my favorite zone in Sonic 3. But yeah, like the snowboard segment. I just like Sonic on snowboard. I think it's so cool. Come over here. Robotnik Winter is kind of weird because while it has really fun segments with the snowboard, it has a lot of cheap moments where if you're not too careful, if you're on these like bundles of snow, it'll be over a bottomless pit, and if you're not too careful, it will cause you to die if you fall through the snow. So be very mindful. Like I said, that like those segments right there. You see all the piles of snow right there on the ground. That'll make Sonic sink, and if he sinks into the ground, he'll fall into a bottomless pit, and then he'll die, and then you have to start the stage over again. And that's not fun. But we got through Act 1 of Robotnik Winter Zone. And now, we're going into Robotnik Winter Zone Act 2. I just like the ice stages a lot. In most Sonic games, I really like ice stages. Like I said, Ice Cap Zone is one of my favorites. I like, oh shoot, what is it called? Press Garden. Press Garden Zone in Sonic Mania is really fun. Oh, snowboard again. We're on snowboard again. Yeah! You can actually ride the snowboard quite a ways. If you can keep it going, you can make Sonic keep going as much as you can, but I'm not good at it, so. Yeah, Press Garden Zone in Sonic Mania. Act 1 isn't really a snow level, but Act 2 is, and I really like the change on that. I'm trying to think of another one. I think it's called Ice Cap Zone. I can't. Sonic Advance is snow level. Sonic Advance is snow level. I can't remember it because it's been a while since I played Sonic Advance. I like that level a lot. It's a combination of not only just a snow level, but it's also the water level of Sonic Advance. I remember there was a bunch of cold water you had to go traverse through there. And okay, I know most people don't like water levels, but honestly, it was kind of one of the better ones in my opinion. Then I think we had, it was called Twinkle Snow Zone? I can't remember. And Sonic Advance 2. Sonic Advance 2 had a winter level. I think Sonic Advance 3 had one too, but I can't remember. It's been a long time since I played Sonic Advance, man. But I really like that series. Right here, you kind of want to do the super peel out right there, because there's a bunch of bottomless pits over the snow mounds. So you'll sneak into the snow mounds and you'll get hurt, and or not get hurt. You'll fall into a pit and die really quickly. So it's easy just to do a super peel out over that. I'm gonna have to remember what those names are in Sonic Advance. Like I said, it's been a long time. And that's one thing I really wish that Sega would do. Would put the Sonic Advance games on NSO or something like that, or release the Sonic Advance trilogy in some sort of collection. That'd be really fun. I like those games. Those games are really fun. I think I already mentioned Sonic Advance 3's I think it was like Sunset Hill Zone. It was like a copy of the Green Hill Zone. I already mentioned that once in this playthrough. So, like, I like Sonic Advance a lot. All 3 games are really good. That was my first handheld Sonic games I really played. I had a Game Gear, I would say in my college years. I didn't grow up with a Game Gear like I know some people did. But I had a Game Gear in my college days. We had a local, when I was in college, there was a local, like, pawn shop. I had a bunch of retro game stuff. And that's where I got my Game Gear. I had a lot of fun Game Gear games. I had Sonic 2 and I had Sonic Chaos. And I want to say I had Sonic Spinball. I think that's it. I think I might have had something else, but I can't remember. But I don't have it anymore, unfortunately. I had to sell it for certain things, but that's okay. But then again, the Game Gear oh my gosh, the Game Gear, holy cow, it took 6 AA batteries in order to run. And it didn't last very long. Anyways, we're in Act 3 of Robotnik Winter, where you got a bunch of these pinguinos got attacking you. We'll find out who's sending all these pinguinos on us. And it's actually a giant pinguino. The giant penguin, he's just sending out these bombs here. And you just have to keep attacking him. Be careful, don't attack it right from under him because the fire will hurt you. But if you attack him a couple times, one of his jets will malfunction. And if you keep attacking him, another jet will malfunction. And you just have to keep on doing it until he has no more jets left. And then he's gonna come over this bottomless pit and you just attack him once and then there you go. That's it. There we go. And we just keep falling down here, and I think this is another segment with Knuckles here. Hi, Knuckles. Quit making my life hard, buddy. I thought we were friends at this point. We got through Act 3 of Robotnik Winter Zone. And now, we are going into probably the worst stage in my opinion. Tidal Plant Zone. This is the water level of the game, and it definitely feels like a water level. This level is really difficult, namely because most of the level you're underwater here. Most of the Sonic games we were playing where it had water and stuff like that, they were really gracious with their air bubbles, and we got a returning mechanic from Sonic Sonic Chaos, where Sonic gets trapped in an air bubble here. You have to kind of guide him upwards. But whereas the other Sonic games kind of were like a little bit easier, like I wouldn't say easier, but like the water levels were a little bit more generous with their air bubbles. This level, I would say, is probably not as generous, because the timer for Sonic drowning is, I don't know if it's like increased or something, but it felt like it came up faster than normal. I had to restart this stage like numerous times trying to get through it because I kept drowning. But right here, this is kind of an interesting new power-up. Sonic has submarine shoes, where they kind of just like make him become a torpedo or something like that. I don't know what kind of torpedo. It's kind of the same as the rocket boots, but it works underwater. But yeah, like the only air bubbles I can really find are these air bubbles which turn Sonic put him inside a bubble in order to guide upwards. But there are some segments here where you can get an air bubble to fill up your lungs. But they're like really few and far between, and it's harder to get through this segment with limited air. I think that's what my biggest thing is. And not only that, it has these pipes. You know how I feel about the pipes. Oh, God. I don't like the pipes very much. But, they also have these annoying, like, cannonballs or something like that. These, like, wrecking balls falling down from the sky. And they're, like, in the most inconvenient spots, so they'll fall down. Like, I think there's one that's going to be right here in a minute. Or maybe not. Maybe I spoke too soon. But there's a bunch of, like, these wrecking ball, like, segments here. And I don't like them. I don't care for them. Because they're really in bad spots. And try to be careful as much as I can, because I mean, I didn't lose all my rings. There we go. I got an air bubble, thankfully. But like I said, they're kind of like few and far between. This is probably the worst water stage out of. Well, no, I take that back. It is not the worst water stage. But we'll open that can of worms when we get to that game. Oh boy. But yeah, this is probably one of the more difficult ones, I'd have to say. I like the music, though. Title Plant music is really good. But there we go. We got through Act 1. That's like 3 minutes in the stage. Holy boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Now we're into Act 2 of Title Plant Zone. This is the zone that, I'd say I probably lost the most lives in my practice run. This stage really kicked my butt, namely because it kind of is a labyrinth. No, I didn't really make a reference to Sonic 1 there. No, it really feels like a labyrinth and not Labyrinth Zone, even though it's a water level. There's a lot of places in here I have to ask myself, where am I going? But we do get the submarine power-up again. He's looking like a jet feet. Like water jet feet or something like that. I don't know what kind of power-up that is, but Sonic looks cool when he gets those power-up. We want to keep coming up here. Try to avoid the giant snake here. Follow this path here. There's an air bubble that pops up there. Just keep in mind, I don't know why it wasn't popping up. And another thing that really gets on my nerves with this stage is the air bubble like time is really not that generous at all. Like, if you're waiting for a air bubble to pop up, it takes a long time for that air bubble to pop up, and I don't know why. I think I don't know if they do that on purpose to deter you from doing that, but man, sometimes when I'm sitting here waiting for a air bubble in order to refill my lungs and whatnot, I end up waiting a little bit, like 20 seconds, it feels like, and that's not good, because, you know, most of the time I'm sitting there with a timer already. Oh, that spike ball. I hate that spike ball. The spike ball just come off screen and hit you. We just want to come up here and then push down a little bit in order to slow down Sonic whenever he's in these bubbles here. You can speed him up by going up, like holding up on the D-pad, or you can hold down to slow him down a little bit. So if you slow him down, that makes it easier to control. So I'm trying to wait for a bubble, but it's not doing it. I don't know how much time I have left before I die. Luckily, every time you hit one of these bubbles, luckily for you, Sonic gets air, so you don't have to worry about a timer or anything whenever you hit the bubbles. We fell down this hole, and we have to do this again. I'm not going to jump into the pipe up there. I'm going to keep going this way, because this way will lead us to the air pocket, so we'll be okay here. And I missed again. Yeah, this stage is kind of a natural maze, honestly. I'll break these rocks here. Actually, I think this is where we're supposed to go, actually. Let me just slide down this hill. Avoid all the bubbles here because we don't need to be on these bubbles. I mean, do it if you are low on air, obviously, but we don't need to ride those bubbles. So you just keep on going down here. Avoid those spike balls falling. I know that's easier said than done. Be careful. That crumbly platform will instantly kill you if you're not too careful. But there we go. Hit the sign, and luckily we got off the screen before my timer went out. We got through Act 2. 200,000 points. I don't know if I got another continue out of that or not. But now we're into Title Plant Act 3. This is the boss stage. And now we've taken care of Fang, right? So that's one of the triple trouble out of the way. And now we're fighting Knuckles. This boss isn't too hard. You just have to do what I'm doing right here and just like cheese him out of the way there. He'll shoot little missiles at you every now and then, or he'll throw these 2 bombs at you if you're not too careful. This boss isn't too hard. I think he's not too bad. It's just you can cheese him a lot. But yeah, once you defeat Knuckles here, yeah, that's the end of the stage. One thing that I think lore-wise suggests that the Knuckles that has been kind of hindering us this whole time isn't really Knuckles. It's a fake created by Eggman. So I think that's what it tries to imply, and I think they implied that in the 16-bit remake of this game, the fan remake. They tried to imply that the Knuckles that we've been fighting, it wasn't really Knuckles, it was a fake. So that's why he was evil, because he wasn't really Knuckles. But now we're into the final zone of the game. This is Atomic Destroyer Zone. I love the name of the zone, but I can't say I really care for this stage, because this stage is a labyrinth. As most of the final zones in these Game Gear games, they're more labyrinth-style zones than they are, like, get through the stage as quickly as possible zones. You kind of have to know where you're going, and you have to keep trying to find a way to move more left than you want to. I've got an extra life there. And try to avoid everything. Got a checkpoint here. I forgot to mention, yeah, the checkpoint boxes are the same as they ever are. They're monitors with a down arrow. That just indicates that that's a checkpoint. So if you die, that's where you're going to start the stage over again. I don't know how that tunnel picked me up when I wasn't even in the tunnel yet, so... But we'll take that. We'll take that. We jump down here. And I think if we come up this way, I think it'll take us back to where we were. Woo! Doink! And now we gotta get on this platform here, and that's the thing, is like trying to get on those platforms is really hard. Then again, I think another thing that I like about this game compared to like Sonic 2 on the Game Gear, but then again, a lot of stuff is better than Sonic 2 in my opinion, is the sprite work is not too like screen heavy. There's not a lot of screen real estate, just like every other Game Gear game, right? But at least Sonic's sprite isn't like taking up most of the screen, so it's easy to see ahead. But we just want to jump on these platforms here to hit this and keep attacking and get through this segment here. Trying to avoid the giant, like, robot spitter outer. And we ride this elevator up, and I think this will take us to the... well, no, it doesn't take us quite there yet. We want to jump on this platform, go through this pipe here. And then, booyah! That's the end of the stage. But yeah, Sonic sprite is a lot better in this game, and I think that's one of the main reasons why, is because it's a little bit smaller than it was in the other games. But we got through Atomic Destroyer Zone Act 1. And now we're going into Atomic Destroyer Act 2. AD Zone. I love the names of the final zone in most of these games, like Atomic Destroyer. I like Cosmic Egg. I think Cosmic Egg is a cool name. But this stage is kind of a pain in the rear end, though. It's kind of like just this whole stage is kind of a pain in the rear end because it's more of a more maze style. Jump over here. Oh man, I didn't kill that badnik in time. Trying to get on top of this button is kind of hard. There we go. I wasn't getting enough oomph in my momentum there. And keep spinning around with this pipes here. I just love pipes. At least these pipes aren't as bad as Sonic 2's. Sonic 2's pipe is... ugh. I don't care for those too much. These are easily to manage. I know where I'm going most of the time. Hit that monitor box. Kill that badnik. Watch out for the lasers. Don't want to, once we hit these buttons, it shoots a laser. Because obviously just don't want that to happen. Jump on this elevator. And yeah, we gotta wait for this platform in order to carry us across here. And then we can jump the platform to platform. Trying to avoid it. I think the thing with this stage that I think the best thing I can advise you do, if you see a bunch of platforms and they're suspended in air, I think that's where you need to go. So try to jump up those platforms in the middle. For the most part. Like, you see these platforms right here? Yeah, we want to jump over to that one. Yeah, we want to jump over that and try to make our way over to the next area. Be careful here, I think. If you break that box there, there's a couple monitors that you can break for extra rings and stuff. But if you don't jump back up, after you destroy the last monitor, you'll fall into the bottomless pit. So just be careful. We don't want to go this far without and die, you know. I think we come up this way and jump. Trying to figure out where I need to go. This is a pain in the butt. I don't know where I'm going. I'm gonna go that way. That didn't go anywhere. Ow! I think there's a bunch of destructible blocks there, so if you gotta be careful whenever you go across that. There we go. We got the end of it. I don't know how we did it, but we got to the end of it. That was Atomic Destroyer Act 2. Now we only got one stage left, and that's the final boss, the Act 3, which is the boss of the stage. And this boss is a lot different than the final boss of the previous games. The previous bosses had just one stage to them. This one is a multi-stage final boss. But we just want to keep climbing this way here. And we keep flying this way when we're on rocket boots here. But we're not alone, because Metal Sonic is here. Yeah, we talked about how this is Sonic Triple Trouble. This is actually Sonic Quadruple Trouble, because Metal Sonic has appeared. Yeah, this is our first time we've actually fought Metal Sonic. We're actually legit fighting him this time. We're not racing him. We're, attacking him and whatnot. You get freebie shots when he swoops around, and then he goes into his little, electric aura thing. And the whole main gimmick of that is we just gotta jump. We gotta wait him out and jump over him whenever we can to wait until he gets done. Then once he's done, then we can attack him. He'll calm down, and then he'll continue his little rampage he was on. And you can attack him freely here. But yeah, Metal Sonic's in this game, and one thing I like that the fan 16-bit remake of this game did is they made Metal Sonic a more integral part of the story. I don't remember if the story of this game actually follows the lore of that fan game, but this boss is special because in that game, Metal Sonic's actually the final boss. And he's your special, supersonic fight that you fight at the end. if you get all the Chaos Emeralds. Because then Metal Sonic gets all the Chaos Emeralds and becomes a giant robot, and you have to fight him as Super Sonic, and it's really cool. But that was Phase 1. We destroyed Metal Sonic. We got a checkpoint here, because we're about ready to fight another boss. But if we come up this way and try to avoid all the robots here. Hi, Fang. He's like, oh, buddy, I still got one more trick on my street. He's like, wait a minute, hold on, never mind. No, Eggman's, we're not fighting Fang, we're fighting Eggman. It's a giant, you know, giant scamper. I don't know how this is threatening. This boss is a joke. A giant stamper. But that was Phase 1. And now we're into Phase 2, which he turns into a giant, like, burner machine? Or something like that. He'll go back and forth, and eventually he'll start shooting fire at you wherever you're standing. So, ideally, what you want to do is you want to keep on attacking him while you're moving around. So that way he doesn't hit you while you're standing still and basically get a free pot shot on you. But this boss isn't too hard either. You can kind of see his pattern. You just hack him a couple more times, and then this part will be defeated. Once we hit it a couple times, or a few more times, this robot will be destroyed. Yeah, there we go. He'll lose it, but he still has one little bit of his machine left, and we just want to attack him when he's down, and once we attack him once, destroys his robot. But we're not done yet. We still got one last boss. Then this is giant, like, I don't know, this giant tube with a bunch of electric shocks coming from the ceiling, reminiscent of like Sonic 1 in a way. He's gonna keep going back and forth from left and right as fast as he can. Eventually, he's gonna start slowing down until he gets to a complete stop in one of the stations on the left and right. That's when you want to attack him, is whenever he stops. He will not take damage while he's moving, so we want to wait until he stops, but be careful. He will set an electric trap in the middle, and that gets a little bit hairy. I don't know the best way to describe. I don't know the best strategy to avoid these shots. The best thing I can really suggest you do is, if you have to take the hit, just be sure to pick up your ring. That's all I gotta say on that. If you pick up your ring, then you should be okay for the most part. But yeah, trying to avoid these electric shocks have always been kind of a hard thing for me to deal with. And eventually he's gonna stop, and you just attack him a couple times. And once the electric storm comes through, you can go hide in one of his corners in order to avoid it. But you best be getting out of that corner before too long, because Eggman will start doing his thing that he usually does, where he goes back and forth and really fast, and then he'll start slowing down to a crawl. But I think this will be the last hit we have to do in order to hit him to finish the game off. Just gotta wait until he comes around here, because I think he's gonna eventually stop. There we go. We just attack a couple times. Nope, we still got one more round in him. Oh, no, we destroyed him. Okay, that was enough. But as you can see, we're chasing him. He jumps on the switch, and he's like, oh, I got away. But Sonic's like, nah, I'm gonna attack you and steal your emerald you had. So now Sonic has all 6 Chaos Emeralds. Yes, Dr. Eggman's holding your last Chaos Emerald that you need in the game. And as you can see, Knuckles was trapped this whole time. So we broke it open and freed him up. And Knuckles is free again. And he's all cool with Sonic again. Like I said, I think the Knuckles that has been helping or hindering us this whole adventure was a fake Knuckles. And Dr. Eggman had kidnapped Knuckles this whole time. I think that's the theory of the story going on with this. But since we got all the Chaos Emeralds, we got the good ending. The good ending is just, you know, the credits where Sonic and Tails are flying in the tornado, watching the scenery and everything while the credits are rolling. If you got the bad ending or you didn't get all the Chaos Emeralds, all would happen was Fang would run on the screen, he'd drop a Chaos Emerald he had, and it would just say, try again. And that's all it would do. And you wouldn't get a credit sequence. And that's for the most part for all these games. That's why I haven't been showing the bad endings as much in this game, is, all they are is just, you know, Robotnik shows, hey, you have all these Chaos Emeralds, try again, and you don't even get the credits. That's the difference between the good ending and bad ending, is whether or not you get credits or not. But, yeah. Sonic Triple Trouble is really fun. I like this game a lot. It's a lot more, it's beginner friendly for the most part, until you get to the later part of the special stages, then it gets a little bit harder. But other than that, I think this is a very good game, and I have a lot of fun playing it. And I think anybody who plays the Game Gear should play this game. It's one of the best Sonic games on the Game Gear, flat out. It uses a bunch of like characters that, you know, uses Fang, which we don't get to see very often. I think he's pretty cool. I mentioned this before, but there's a 16-bit remake of a fan remake of this game, and it has added a lot more stuff to it, and even added like a whole different like story that it's a continuation of Sonic 3 Knuckles, which I think is really cool. So if you are interested in fan games, I really suggest checking that out, because they did a really good job. They like added all the stages from this game, they added story to it, as well as they tweaked some of the bosses, as well as the final boss being a completely different thing with the supersonic final boss and everything. I think that's pretty cool. But other than that, I think the original still holds up really well, and I really like this game. We're not done, obviously. This is one of the things that it was taking me a long time to get through this, is because I had to record both the playthroughs of Sonic and Tails. Now granted, I didn't have to show Tails, but I wanted to show Tails, because there are some differences with Tails. So, anyways, we got to the end credits here. We just get an end. And it turns into night sky. That's it. That's it for Sonic Triple Trouble. Again, like I said, I think this game is really great, and I think everybody should play it. That if they have access to a Game Gear, or any sort of emulator that has Game Gear games. Because this game is fun. This took me a little bit to figure out how to get past the screen, because this screen stays up for quite a while. I don't know why it does, but there we go. Now we're back here on the title screen. And Sonic Triple Trouble. See, Knuckles is chuckling at us. I thought you didn't like to chuckle, Knuckles. But yeah, we're not done yet, because we still have to go through Tails. Yeah, we're going to be playing through Tails playthrough. Unlike Sonic Chaos, Great Turquoise Zone, that's what the zone's called. I remember it had turquoise in its name. Unlike Sonic Chaos, Tails can collect the Chaos Emeralds in this game. And as you can see, his flight is a little bit different than it was in Sonic Chaos. Sonic Chaos's Tails' momentum was like non-existent when he's flying. But in this game, he does have a little bit of momentum. I wouldn't say it's like the best. It's still a little bit easy to maneuver with Tails. But yeah, you could still maneuver with him with his flight. It has a little bit of momentum to it. So it is improved in Sonic Chaos. Granted, I still think that him not having momentum in his flying is really funny, and it really makes the game a little bit easy to control his Tails when he's flying. So, but yeah, unlike Sonic Chaos, the Tails playthrough can collect the Chaos Emeralds. So Tails can collect all the Chaos Emeralds before, whereas Sonic Chaos, he couldn't even get any of them. So no matter what you did, you didn't get a good ending with Tails. I don't know why it makes that noise whenever Tails does that flying sometimes. But Tails has a couple of things different than Sonic. Obviously, his big thing is he flies. Yeah, compared to Sonic, where Sonic doesn't. He has the super peel out move, which is really useful in some aspects. Right here, you can actually spin dash across the waterfall. I didn't even know you could do that until I did that in the recording. I'm gonna destroy this badnik here before he drops a ball on me. And I'm trying to get up here so I can jump on these top of these things here. Luckily for me, I had a lot of rings, so it's like, I don't care if I got hit. I have enough I can do this. And then I was like, oh no, I fell in the water. What am I gonna do? Unfortunately, I have to get out of the water before I can even do anything, because I don't think you can't even activate flight when you're in water. So that kind of stinks. When you're in water, Tails can't fly at all. I mean, he can't even do the doggy paddle like swimming he did before in the other games. Which is kind of stupid in my opinion, but what can you do? And jump up here, try to get on top of the platform, and I can't get up there. Luckily for me, I don't have to like worry because I have flying. Flying makes things a lot easier, and I was like, screw it, I'm not even gonna try doing that. But there we go, got the Chaos Emerald monitor. We're gonna go ahead and jump through to the goal here. I like Tails' sprite in this game too. His sprite is really good. And it made like one of the things with Tails is his idle animation is really adorable, and I love it. He just sits there and yawns, and he sits down. It's so cute. I just love Tails in general. Tails is such a cute character. When I was a kid, I loved Tails to death. He was like one of my favorite characters. Mainly just because I like foxes. Foxes are adorable. Honestly, the best thing that Sega ever did when it comes to Sonic is make Tails, because Tails is so cute and I love him. Gonna go ahead and break up all these boulders. I'd say boulders, and then get my tongue tied there. Of course, I've been recording for over an hour, so I'm getting a little bit tongue-tied on a lot of things. I'm trying to get all this time and everything, and get as many rings as I can. I don't even know why I'm going for the rings here. Boing. That was actually one thing. I tried to go on that tangent, but I stopped myself because we were in the middle of credits. One thing that... Oh, this segment sucks. I don't know why... For right here, I don't know why his Tails is having a hard time getting up to that platform there, but as you can see, I was like, what is going on? Why can't Tails get up there? And I tried to get up there as quickly as I can, but it's not working, so I just eventually just said, screw it, I'm flying up there. But, what I was trying to say is, I'm sorry for the difference between, this last part and, this part. It's been like, what, 2 weeks since recording? Now, if you're watching this in the future and you're watching the playthrough list, you wouldn't have to worry about it. But one of the reasons why it was hard for me to get this video out is, as you can see from the bottom here, the bottom of the timeline is a 2-hour video. I think this is the first 2-hour video I made for a long play of the game. Granted, I'm doing 2 playthroughs, so that's kind of cheating in a way. I'm only doing this for games that have multiple characters to play as, so I can show off the differences between the two of them. I think there's only like one more game I have to do that with, kind of like in the same vein. So as you can see, like, yeah, we got 10 seconds on, or 6 seconds on the clock. So we're gonna get a nice like time bonus because we had 6 seconds on the clock once we finished it. But yeah, like I mentioned, yeah, this video was really hard to edit. I had to cut out a lot of stuff, and that's why it has taken a while to get this video out to you guys in the meantime, and I know it's gonna be like this for the next couple things. Oh, here's a new power-up. Instead of the rocket boots, Tails gets like a super fly ability, where he just keeps flying continuously really fast. It's kind of like the rocket boots in a way, but it's with his tails instead. It's kind of weird. But yeah, that's why it's gonna be like that for a couple of the games. Now, granted, I don't think the next game on our list of games to play for the next episode will be as long of a wait as this one, nor the next game, but I can definitely tell you the game after that one is going to be a long time, because that's a beefy game. You'll understand why when we get to it. But yeah, like, I'm sorry if it takes a while. It's just trying to record and edit like 4.5-hour videos and condense them down as much as I can is a lot of work. I didn't realize how long. I mean, I kind of figured long plays were going to take a long time to edit. And don't get me wrong, I'm still happy I'm doing it the way I'm doing it, because then I don't have to spend like 3 or 4 videos on one game. I only have to end up spending 1 video on a game. And if anybody wants to like see parts of the game that I'm covering, it's all in one video. You don't have to, you know, pull up 3 different videos. And it's nice. And honestly, when I was younger, I really liked long plays because they helped me get through a lot of stuff, like how to figure out certain things in certain games. So that's why I kind of decided to do it this way for the longest time. Like I said, I don't regret doing structuring this part of the Let's Play in this way. And I know the way I've done this Let's Play of Sonic Origins has been kind of different than probably what people were expecting whenever I announced that I was doing this game. I think people were just expecting me to just play through all 4 games of Sonic 1, Sonic CD, Sonic 2, and Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I think people were just expecting me to play those games and just call it a day, which, you know, that was the original idea. And then I looked at all the other stuff, I'm like, I could cover all this. And then I looked at the Game Gear games, I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if I played all the Game Gear games too? And they ended up being like 16 games done in this playthrough. No, don't get me wrong. I'm happy I'm doing it, but man, I didn't realize how big of an undertaking I was asking of myself to do it. Alright, now Tails is in the tornado and he has to collect 80 rings. This is basically the same thing as Sonic. Tails, like I said, he has a couple things different, but for the most part, it's basically the same playthrough. So, but yeah, I am happy the way I structured this, because in some ways this is probably the most complete like walkthrough. I don't even really. I try to make my videos walkthrough-esque whenever I'm doing a Let's Play and stuff like that, because for the most part I like informing people about what happens in the game and what to expect in certain things, what strategies you could use, or what you can't do to get through a certain part. And I thought, you know, I am technically 100%ing in my eyes when it comes to Sonic Origins is doing everything, like completing all the boss rush modes, completing all the mission modes, completing all the games, 100% all the games, complete all the museum requirements, and for that matter is completing all the Game Gear games that was included in Plus. But yeah, that's pretty much that. That's why I decided to do it this way. Now, granted, I still have a couple things in the pipeline for later and what to do for the playthrough after we're done with Game Gear. Because once we're done with Game Gear stuff, I still have a couple things I wanted to show off before we end the series. This series ended up being a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, and that's not a bad thing. But there we go. We got our second Chaos Emerald. Here's Tails' animation. He just taps his foot and then he just sits down. He's so cute. I love Tails. But yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much that. Now you go on to Fang the Sniper. Oh boy. Yeah, Fang the Sniper. I keep calling him Fang the Sniper because that's all I've ever known him as. He was a character, I think, I don't know if he debuted in Sonic the Fighters. I just know him from Sonic the Fighters. I know he was in a couple other games. Same with Bean and what's that other guy's name? I can't remember. there's like a trio of characters. You know, I'll go and look them up real quick. But yeah, they're like characters that showed up in Sonic the Fighters. And they were bosses in kind of like part of a boss in Sonic Mania and Mirage Saloon character. They were like bosses in Sonic Mania and Mirage Saloon Zone. Okay, so we had let's see here. I'm trying to find them all here. Bring up the Sonic Wiki. Characters, playable characters here. We have Bark the Polar Bear. That's his name. I couldn't remember. He was a giant, like, yellow polar bear. And then we had Bean the Dynamite, which he was kind of like a green, like, character. And then we had Fang the Sniper. Yeah. Espio was in this game too. I forgot Espio was. And then you had your normal characters like Amy, Knuckles, Miles, and Sonic. But yeah, like Bean the Dynamite and Bark the Polar Bear were the other characters I was thinking of. They kind of were in the same group as Fang the Sniper. I've always called him Fang the Sniper. I know he goes by a lot of aliases, as I mentioned plenty of times in this playthrough already. But yeah, like I know that Sega had a lot of like times when they were like joking around, and they were like putting like wanted posters for these characters, along with like characters like Mighty Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel, which in Sonic Mania they actually made playable characters. I thought was really cool. Man, it was so cool to see some of these like offbeat characters show up in certain games many years afterwards. But yeah, like Fang was kind of a special character in particular because he was in this game he's an active villain in this game, and later, just recently, they released Sonic Superstars, which they made him a central antagonist along with Dr. Eggman and a new character named Trip. But Trip ended up being a good guy. I know I'm spoiling that game, but Trip ended up being a good guy at the end. Or she ended up being a good guy, I should say. I don't know. I've always used guy as a unisex term. So I'm going to go ahead and say this. If anybody's upset whenever I say, hey guys, whenever I come back, whenever I start my intro, I'm sorry. I don't mean it in that way. Guys has always been a unisex term to me. I've always used that term as a gender fluid term, it meaning both, male, female, or they, them, or in some ways. I always use them as terms to indicate someone, not based on gender. So I hope people understand that. Because that was always one thing I was worried about when I started my intros, especially years go by, because I didn't want to come off as an insensitive. But like that term has always been like a term that I've always used for all genders. So, but anyways, this segment's a little bit easier because tails can fly. So, but yeah, like Fang in that game, he was a kind of a central antagonist in Sonic Superstars, and oh my gosh, I have a couple things to gripe about Sonic Superstars. Like, the game is fine for the most part until like you get to the end game where you're trying to do the 100%. It's fine to play through if you're just playing through it normally, but if you're trying to 100% it, like doing everything, oh boy. Namely, the biggest problem with that game is bosses. I would feel like the bosses are the worst part of Sonic Superstars. Like, the game looks really good. I like some of the stages. I think some of the stage designs in that game are really good. But, oh boy, the bosses take forever. And if you die to them, you have to start all over again. That's another, like, 4 or 5 minutes you wasted because you didn't do it, or you just didn't do it. So, and it's no different than Fang's boss in Trip's story at the very end of the game. So I'll tell you what, like, Fang's the final boss of Trip's story. And Fang's boss is so cheap. He's the only character that I can think of in Sonic history, at least in that game in particular, where it insta-kills you. He has a move that insta-kills you. No matter if you have rings, he kills you. It's like, how is that fair? But yeah, like, Sonic Superstar's biggest thing is the boss fights. The boss fights take too long. They are hard. The game is really hard in certain aspects. And it's just bogged down by a lot of design choices that I don't really understand why it had to be the way it was. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents on that. There we go. I think we're at the end of Act 1 of Sunset Park. Yeah, this is the Act 1. I thought we were on Act 2, but I guess not. Man, I never had to commentate over a 2-hour video before. I mean, I had to, I stream every now and then. I stream every Saturday, so I should be used to talking in long segments like this. But I usually have a bottle of water when I'm talking a lot in such situations like this, so, like, excuse me if I'm drinking water in this, because it's taken a long time to get through this. Like I said, this is one of the reasons why this video has been taking forever to get out. I've recorded so much for Sonic Triple Trouble because there was a lot of stuff to go through. I don't know why I got stuck on that bumper there. That was funny. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff in Sonic Triple Trouble that I wanted to show off. And, you know, I just get the chance to talk to you guys about stuff. I wanted to talk about Sonic Superstars and how I felt about the game. I want to talk about Fang as a character. I think Fang is kind of a cool character. We don't get to see him very often. I just hope that Sega brings back, or remembers that Bean and Bark exist. I know they kind of used them in Sonic Mania, but they were more cameos more than anything. But I just hope that they get to come back in the game proper like Fang did. But yeah, that was actually, like, going back to the word guys, like I said before, that was one thing I've always been worried about, if people get upset about me using that word. And if it bothers anybody, I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend anybody. But I just, like, I never got a chance to talk about it, and now I get to talk about it. Because, like I said, I've always grown up and that word was always used to identify anybody, not just men. But I understand that if people don't like it because it's usually used that term, that's totally understandable. I'll try to, but I just wanted to give you my reasoning why I use that, because that's just how I've always gone by. I've actually tried to, I don't know if anybody noticed, like, over the years, I've tried to clean up my language a little bit, because back a long time ago, my channel setup, I still have it set for not for kids, not advertising, because, you know, obviously if I do for kids, then obviously I won't make any money off of these videos, which, you know, I have it set for advertising, and I want to get money off these videos, obviously. But yeah, like I try, you know, back in the day, I used to cuss all the time. In my videos and swear. And over the years, I've really tried to tone that down. I might have slipped up every now and then, but for the most part, I've tried to eliminate all that out of my talking points whenever I'm talking to the audience here in these videos. I try to keep it as family friendly as possible, as I possibly can, and be as inclusive as I possibly can too. I love everybody who watches my videos. I don't care where you come from. I respect you, and I appreciate everything you give me. I just hope everybody understands that. You guys actually really mean the world to me, and I hope you guys always know that. So, but yeah, like I tried to clean up my act a little bit when I got older. I think around the age of after I got out of college, which was over 10 years at this point. Holy crap, I didn't even realize that. But like after around the time I got out of college, I really tried to hunker down on the way I talk in videos. And it's hard for me sometimes because I have a hard time talking sometimes because my brain tries to filter out things before I speak. So, and sometimes it doesn't filter it out correctly, and I say something completely not what I mean. And sometimes it's hard to understand what I'm saying sometimes. But for the most part, I try to, you know, clean up my act a little bit, because I used to cuss a lot in videos, and obviously when I was in my 20s, and I didn't know any better. I guess I wasn't very mature. I guess that's the best way to describe it. I wasn't very mature, so I've tried to actually cut out a lot of words out of my everyday use over the years, especially words that I grew up around. I don't like those words as much as I used to anymore. We're back into Meta Jungleria zone. I think we're going to get our last Chaos Emerald with Tails. I know I have basically not talked about Tails this whole entire time when we're playing as Tails, but it's basically the same playthrough as Sonic for the most part. There's a couple of things in Tails' playthrough that's different than Sonic's. Well, we just haven't gotten to there yet. Once we do, oh boy, we're gonna be talking about a couple things. Okay, there's a cool thing coming up later that Tails can do that Sonic can, and I really like that. And I didn't even realize that until I played as Tails. I was like, holy crap, that's actually kind of cool. Here, I'm trying to get my last Chaos Emerald here. Trying to get as many rings as I possibly can. I really like these Game Gear games for the most part. Like, there's some Game Gear games that are absolutely ugh. I don't like playing them. But for the most part, my time playing through the Game Gear games has been really fun. It kind of opened my eyes to a lot of, like, hidden gems I never played before. Like this one. This game, I really absolutely love this game. This game is fun. But yeah, we kind of come down here, and I think we're going to try to get this Chaos Emerald here. There it is. Okay. If you come in this room early before you have 50 rings, the monitor won't show up, and if you come back with 50 rings, it still won't show up, so do not even come into that room until you have 50 rings. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Okay, so right here, gonna jump across here. This is the hard special stage again. Oh gosh, I had to redo this special stage numerous times on both playthroughs. But yeah, you have to really use that uncurl curl mechanic a lot in this segment here. But there's like one segment here, like it's not this segment here, but like later when we have to jump through that giant like funnel that leads you down to when you land on a rock and you have to jump across with hit a thing. I'll mention it more when we get there. Thank God for Tails' flying ability. Holy crap. Yeah, Tails kind of makes this part trivial because yeah, that platform went away and it won't come back. Right here. You have to make sure you're uncurled in this segment. The reason why is because you're wanting to land on top of the block of the boulders down here without breaking them. And if you're curled, you will break them. So be careful there. And this segment's hard too, because we want to jump on these platforms without breaking the boulders, because we want to be on the platforms in order to jump to the next one. But here, with Tails, you could just fly, so it's not a big deal. I think I was trying to... I don't know what I was thinking, because I was thinking about something right now. I was like... I tried to do it the legit way. I thought about it. I was like, couldn't I just have flown over this segment? And I don't know why I didn't think about that sooner. There we go. Got to the end of the special stage. Now we're at the final Fang encounter. Trying to hit him a couple of times here. Hit the drill dozer. That's a game I haven't played yet. I know it's on the GBA. I think it's called Miss Dozer or something like that. That's one of the Game Boy Advance games that I have not played. I played a lot of Game Boy Advance games growing up. I think, like, I wouldn't say the whole library I've at least encountered once, but, like, majority of the library that I've played. When I say majority of the library, I mean, like, mainstay games. Not, like, every game, including, like, what do you call bargain bin games? Not those. I don't know, there's some bargain bin games I really liked on the Game Boy Advance. I was big in Bionicle growing up, so I had a bunch of Bionicle games, and I loved them. To this day, I still love them. I still love the Bionicle universe to this day. Going on changing subjects, but yeah, I was just talking about, like, I was thinking about, like, throwaway games and stuff like that. I was like, I have a lot of Bionicle games. I guess people would consider some of the Lego games be bargain bin games. I don't know, one of these days I'll probably do a Let's Play of Bionicle game. Mainly because I just love that universe. Gonna bop, bop, bop over these eggs here. These balloons, or whatever these things are, these little things here. The one that go, ah, whenever you hit them. You gotta go loop-de-loop. Doing. So one of my commentaries come down to just talking about onomatopoeias. Boing, doing. Like I said, this is what usually happens whenever I'm doing post-commentary for a 2-hour video. I think, like I said, this shouldn't happen too much. I think there's going to be, like, one more game where I feel like it's going to be a 2-hour plus game. And I think after that, everything should be fine for the most part. They should be about, at most, an hour, I believe. But for one game in particular, I can definitely tell you it's probably going to be a 2-hour game. Mainly because of the type of game it is. And you'll understand when we get to it. I'm looking forward to recording it, but I'm also not looking forward to recording it because I know it's going to be there for a while. I didn't think this game would take me this long to edit and everything else. Because Sonic Chaos wasn't that bad. Sonic Chaos was like an hour and 15 minutes for both playthroughs. But granted, I think Sonic Chaos has a different thing because Sonic Chaos, like, going through those games, like, I could beat a stage in, like, a minute. For most of these stages I'm playing through in Sonic Triple Trouble, it's taking, like, 2+ minutes. I think it's starting to add up a little bit. Especially with the special stages being as long as they are. Like, the special stages themselves in Sonic Triple Trouble are really long compared to the special stages in Sonic Chaos. Sonic Chaos' special stages are, like, less than a minute. Donkey Kong Barrel Blast. I need to play through Donkey Kong again someday. I know, like, time of this recording, I think I'm recording this on the day that Donkey Kong Bonanza came out. I'm looking forward to that game. I really want to play that game at some point. But yeah, for the most, I haven't played Donkey Kong, like, Country in a while. I've been meaning to play it again. I want to play through Donkey Kong Country again. Strange thing about Donkey Kong, I know we're playing Sonic, I'm talking about Donkey Kong. My first exposure to Donkey Kong Country was Donkey Kong Country on the Game Boy Advance, which I know a lot of people don't care for because it has the problems that these games have. It has screen crunch. But I don't know. I like those versions of the game. I think those versions of the game are fun. I'll have to play through them again sometime. I think that'll be the next to-do game on my list here. I'm in the process of playing through Tales of Grace's F right now. I finished the game just a couple days ago, but I'm doing all the post-game content right now. I had a lot of fun playing that game. That game was really fun. I've been actually on Twitter. I posted, I've been putting a list of games I've completed this year, kind of like make a goal for myself. I wouldn't say it's a goal, but like it's more of a reflection of what stuff I've played through the year. Like I put a thread of games that I've beaten this year. I think I'm on game number 20. Most of the games on that list are these games here that we're playing through right now. Most of the games that are on this list is the games, my practice run playing through these Game Gear games for the first time, trying to get ready for the recording and whatnot. So that's like 12 right there. 12 of my 20 are these games. But, yeah, I got through a lot of games this year. I played through, what did I play through? I played through, Dragon Quest Builders 2. I played the first one, last year, and I really loved that, so I played the sequel, and I just loved it as much as that one. And then, what was the second game I beat? I beat Echo's Wisdom. Zelda Echo's Wisdom, and I really liked that game. That game was fun. And then I played through Bloodborne. I really like that game. That game is really fun. Really hard, but it's really fun. I actually beat Bloodborne this year, so I was happy about that. Another one I beat. I beat it like 100%, by the way. I got all the trophies and everything. I got like a platinum trophy on Bloodborne. I don't really go out of my way for platinum trophies as much as I used to. Now, if you talked about my college years, I was a trophy fanatic. I'd go out of my way to try to get as many trophies in the video game as I possibly can. I usually get the game on PlayStation or Xbox, whatever, so I can get the achievements. Nowadays, I've just grown out of that. Usually I buy games. It's usually on the Switch, mainly because I just like the Switch. That's what I'm recording this game on. I'm recording the Switch version. I know a lot of people are like, well, why didn't you play a PC version? Yeah, no, it could be played. I'm not that big of a PC gamer. I don't really like to play PC very much. But yeah, like I usually buy my stuff on Switch anymore. Switch 2. We just got Switch 2, so I'll probably end up buying a lot more stuff on that now. But yeah, like beat Bloodborne this year. 100%ed it. What else did I do? I beat Mario and Luigi Brothership. That was a fun game. I like that game a lot. It was nice to play through a Mario and Luigi game again. Hadn't played one in a long time. What else did I play after that? Oh, I have my list up here. Let me pull it up. Like I said, I know I'm not talking about the game at all, and I'm sorry about that, but this is stuff we've already seen. I already talked about it. So I figured you guys wouldn't mind that. I'll get into more detail when we get to something that's brand new. Let me see if I can find it here. Okay, here's my thread here. I played through Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. I played the first game a lot, and I like that game a lot because, I mean, it's made the same people who made Banjo-Kazooie, and you guys know how much I love that game. I did a Let's Play of it years ago, and I like Yooka-Laylee a lot. I know a lot of people didn't like that, but the sequel game, the Impossible Lair, was a lot of fun. I like that game a lot. It's just hard in some areas. It's like Donkey Kong Country. And then all the games that I've done on this list for this playthrough that I'm doing right now. All the Game Gear games I've beaten. I beat Pikmin 2 this year. We streamed that game. I played through Pikmin 2 years ago. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember. Whenever I started streaming, I beat Pikmin 1. Really liked Pikmin. Holy crap, I liked Pikmin a lot. And I like Pikmin 2 just as much. The game's hard. As you can probably imagine. Pikmin 2 is a really hard game. What else have I beaten? Oh, I just beat Tales of Graces. Okay, so that's pretty much all the stuff I've beaten is Tales of Graces after that. I did beat the Genesis version of Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine and Sonic Spinball. I actually went through and beat the Genesis version because I was like, oh, I hadn't actually beaten those games yet. As much as those games have been in my childhood, I never beat them. I never beat them at all, but I already talked about that story with Sonic Spinball. I'll get more about that when we get to Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. On this version, anyways. Tails has got his Superfly ability. He doesn't get a snowboard, unfortunately, in this level. I forget if you haven't noticed. He gets like abilities for himself, but certain abilities like the snowboard, like Sonic does in this game, in this stage, Tails unfortunately doesn't get. I wish he got a snowboard because it'd be cute if Tails got a snowboard. Either that or he get like skis or something like that. That'd been really funny if he got skis instead of like snowboard. Because I can see Tails being a ski guy instead of a snowboard guy. Sonic's obviously a snowboard guy because Sonic's a cool character. Tails could be be on skis. Ah, I missed that, missed it. Missed the checkpoint here. Alright, this part right here, I think this is the part I really had a hard time doing. Yeah, this part right here stinks, because underneath the floor there, that's a bottomless pit, and you sink really fast. So I flew over that segment. I said, I'm not dealing with that. Yeah, I was like, I'm not dealing with that. Trying to be careful there, trying to not hit myself with the spikes. I think we're almost at the end of Robotnik Winter. I think this is Act 2, if I remember correctly. Well, if I would have been paying attention, yeah, this is Act 2. I've been not paying attention. I will say the part where it's different in Tails' playthrough compared to Sonic's is coming up pretty soon. Namely in the next zone, title plant zone. I've been trying to get out of this snow here, trying to get in one platform. Yeah, I hope you guys have been enjoying this playthrough of Sonic Origins. This has been kind of my game to get myself motivated again to making content, because I kind of mentioned this in a update video earlier this year, but last year was kind of just really hard, and I kind of talked about that in one of my recent videos I did. I was kind of just having a hard time trying to just record in general. And it was just because I just kind of lost motivation to do a lot of stuff. I don't know why, I just did. I think it's just because I was just getting too stressed in everyday life and everything else. And I was just kind of losing passion into something that I absolutely had passion for majority of my life. Which, to this day, I'm so thankful that I do recording stuff, because I met the best people in my life through this hobby, and I am thankful every day that I started doing this. Every day I'm so thankful that I do this, because I don't know where my life would be if I didn't record videos. It's kind of weird to think about, but I really don't know where my life would be if I didn't record videos. Anyways, we're on this penguin boss again. He's sending out his penguin army. His pinguino army. I don't know. I've always liked that word in Spanish is pinguino. I've been learning a lot. I think I mentioned this in a previous video. I've been learning a lot of Spanish because I work place I work. I've been kind of trying to get myself accustomed to Spanish a little bit because it would kind of help me with my communication with certain people there because majority of the people that work there speak Spanish. They speak English too, but majority of them speak Spanish. Majority, like their main language, I would say. But I've gotten better at speaking Spanish. I can count to 1,000 in Spanish now. I'm not gonna do it, but I can. Anyways, Tidal Plant Zone. This is the zone that's different. Finally, Tails has a different ability. Like in Tidal Plant Zone, there is something cool with Tails, and I didn't know this until I started playing as Tails. One of the power-ups, namely the power-up that Sonic gets for his little like submarine thing here, Tails gets a flat-out submarine boat. And it changes the music and everything. You have little projectiles you can shoot. You can do a dash attack if you push down in the jump button. And he uses the drill for the dash attack. This is the coolest thing ever. And you know what the coolest thing is? I don't have to worry about air with this guy. Because Tails is in a cockpit full of air. So I don't have to worry about the air meter. This is the coolest thing. This makes playing Tails... the Tails playthrough worth it. And it just stays there. The only time it goes away is if you take a hit. If you take a hit, it goes away, obviously. But for the most part, you can ride that submarine as much as you can. It doesn't go away like in a couple seconds like Sonic's power-up. That is the coolest thing. I'm sorry I'm like giddy over it, but like when I found that out, I was like, holy crap, that's neat. I wish that Tails had more stuff like that in this playthrough. Because honestly, that made it so much fun to play through the stage again. And I already talked about how much I didn't care for the stage when I was playing as Sonic. But holy crap, playing as Tails, I'm like, I love this stage, dude. Just because of that submarine. I mean, it still has its main problems for the most part, like the balls coming down and hitting you off screen, you can't see it, the random air bubbles like not working as well and stuff like that, like, and the being the labyrinth like design that it is, it still has those problems. But for the most part, Tails' little like submarine fixes a lot of those problems. And I think that's the coolest thing. I know it's such a minor thing to be playing this whole entire playthrough as Tails, but honestly, it makes it worth it just to play as Tails, just because of that thing. I love that. That is so cool. And that's just a precursor to some of the other games that Tails has on the Game Gear that we're going to be getting into later down the line. And honestly, it just makes me happy playing these games, because honestly, Tails' like gameplays on most of the Game Gear is what sells the Game Gear to me. Tails, if anybody is like the main character of the Game Gear, I don't think it's Sonic. I think it's Tails. Tails is so cool on the Game Gear. I got giddy. I'm sorry. I just like, whenever I saw the submarine and I realized what it was, you should have saw the look on my face. I was like, holy crap, this is neat. You mean to tell me Tails gets a machine that he could just use as long as he can, as long as he doesn't get hit, and it shoots projectiles, and he has infinite air, and I can maneuver just fine in water? That's neat. Why doesn't Sonic get something cool like that? Oh, because Sonic's not a mechanic. Because Sonic isn't smart. I'm joking, obviously. But yeah, I was super giddy on that. By the way, this little animation of Tails on the bubble is really funny. He's stuck upside down in the bubble. I love that. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, whenever I saw that, I was like, that was so neat. And guess what? We get it again. You have to jump up this way, up here, to get to your little submarine. But here's your submarine. Yeah. And it's got its own music and everything. But yeah, there's the spin dash move. Be careful of this segment here, because you can accidentally lose it. Because that sit there, that boulder, man. This segment's actually like I think this is a Tails exclusive area, because I think Sonic normally can't do this because he doesn't have a projectile with his like a submarine or anything like I can. It's like a little shortcut. Unfortunately, I lost my submarine. I'm upset about that. Man, I wish I could have my submarine, man. But we're flying through the water with the bubble. I have like 9 lives now. I think I was getting... whenever I play through the Tails playthrough, I notice I get a lot better at the game than I was with Sonic. I think it's because the Sonic playthrough is usually the one that unrusts me. And then the Tails playthrough is the one after I've been unrusted with WD-40, if that makes any sense. But yeah, there we go. Like, that was the big thing with Tidal Plant Zone that I just was kind of looking forward to. That's why this whole playthrough with Tails exists, really. I mean, granted, I probably, if there wasn't anything different, Tails, I would have recorded the Tails playthrough anyways, because when I say it's a full game, I wanted it to be the full game that includes both characters. Ow! I'm trying. Need to get air. Quickly! Quickly! Ah, oh, that was so close. That was so cool. I was like, I couldn't remember if I died there or not. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I got it like literally last second. Yeah, man. It's hard to talk about a lot of stuff. Like, I was trying to find topics to talk about, but I think I've pretty much talked about all my talking points. I guess it's just been, like I said, it was like past year has been like demotivation. Yeah, I was just demotivated to do a lot of videos last year. That's why a lot of like projects I was working on were on hold for the most part. And I didn't upload for like 2 months at one point. And this whole playthrough that I'm doing right now with Sonic Origins was to help me get over my hump, by hump that I was in right now. Like, I was having a hard time recording, and I just figured that maybe I shouldn't do so super complicated game and just do something relaxed playthrough. Little did I know that this playthrough ended up being one of those playthroughs. But yeah, originally I was just going to play through the story mode of this game. I wasn't gonna do anything. Oh, by the way, the boss. Yeah, boss of this stage. We get to be in the sub. And that makes this boss kind of a joke. I wouldn't say, like, super joke, because obviously he still can hit you by accident. But, I mean, you got a projectile, and you can just keep shooting Knuckles. And, man, I just love the sub. That was the best idea they could have done in this game. That is so cool. And not only that, it just fits Tails' character to have something like that. So, I really like that. But I did like majority of the damage to Knuckles already with that sub. Trying to hit him as much as I can. But yeah, this playthrough was originally going to just be a simple one to kind of help me get over my demotivation I was in. And then this ended up being like a lot more complicated playthrough than I originally was planning on it to be. But that's okay. It helped me get my spark back. It really did. Because now whenever I record, I get a lot more happier than I used to be. Like, at some point, it felt like I was just recording just for me. And it became more of a chore than it did before. But now, whenever I'm recording, I feel like I'm excited to recording, and became more of a, I'm doing it because I'm passionate about the games I play. But yeah, I'm glad that that part of the year is over, and I've gotten over that hump for the most part. And I get to be super excited about talking about certain things like a submarine and tidal plant zone with tails. I get to be excited about that stuff. But yeah, we're in the final level of Sonic Triple Trouble. It's become more of Tails Triple Trouble because we saw no Sonic in sight. But yeah, other than that, my opinion really stays the same. This game is a really fun game. I like this one a lot. I think it's by far the best Sonic game, like Sonic platformer, on the Game Gear. I wouldn't say it's the best Sonic game on the Game Gear, but it's definitely the best Sonic 2D Sonic platform. 2D Sonic platformer. I don't even know if you can count it, because the game that I consider the best is obviously a platformer, but I don't know how to describe it. Well, like I said, I don't want to talk about it yet because we're not at that video yet, but when I get there, we'll talk about it. But yeah, Atomic Destroyer is really cool stage. It gets really hard to figure out where to go in these stages. But then again, it's been like that for most of the last stages on the Game Gear. It's like really confusing. At least it's not as confusing as Scrambled Egg Zone. Holy crap, man. Scrambled Egg Zone in Sonic 2. Holy. That literally sucked all the fun out of everything about that game. Well, it wasn't the only thing that was sucked out of. That game had a lot of issues, in my opinion. Like, granted, I still think the game is fine. I just don't think the Game Gear version is the best way to play it. Definitely, it has its problems. And I think it's just because of the type of hardware it was on. I don't know. I feel like at that point, the Scrambled Egg Zone was more of a game design rather than the game system design. We can shoot out here, and we're at the end of the stage. Yeah, there we go. Look, a Chaos Emerald, guys! I really don't know what the signs mean, like, at the end. I don't look this stuff up. I don't see what the difference is between, like, Sonic appearing on the signpost, or a Flicky showing up on the signpost, or Knuckles, or Tails, or Chaos Emeralds, or a ring. I think the ring just gives you 10 extra rings at the end of the stage. I don't know what those other mean. I really never look into that. I probably should, but... yeah, that's pretty much that. Goodness. I know, like, I keep talking about it, but, like, man, a 2-hour video. Holy crap. I didn't expect this episode to be as long as it was. I'm sorry if you get to this part of the video, and if you do, kudos to you. I do appreciate everything you do for me. I mentioned that before, but I do appreciate you guys. But yeah, like, we're at the last, I think this is Act 2 of Atomic Destroyer Zone. So we're towards the end of it, finally. I'll jump over these lasers. Like, be careful of those lasers. Trying to be careful. Like I said, in these stages, if you see the platforms in the middle of the air, I think that's the indication of where you need to go on this stage, because this stage can get really kind of confusing. Namely because the pipes that lead you to the intersection pipes, I don't know what to describe it, the waypoint area where they can shoot you in a certain direction, depending on where you jump to. I'm gonna go ahead and try to be careful. Whoa, yep. I thought there was a end pipe there that spit you out into a bottomless pit. Now I gotta ride this elevator again. Jump. Get across there. Ah! Laser got me. There we go. Break up all the blocks there. Get my rings back. Oh man, I missed it. But I think I just fly up this way and shoot myself there, and there we go. Yeah, there we go. That was easy. I don't know what you're doing, Knuckles. What are you on the sign for? I'm starting to get loony. But now we're in the last act of the game, Atomic Destroyer Act 3. Again, this is a like 4-stage boss fight. There's like 4 different types of bosses you have to fight. Which is kind of ridiculous, but in the same sense, it doesn't feel like it's... The thing is, though, with these bosses, like, yeah, sure, there's 4 of them, but they don't feel cheap. They really don't. Metal Sonic's after our tail. But I'm Tails. I'm not Sonic, I'm Tails. Why are you going after me, Metal Sonic? I'm just gonna go ahead and tag him like normal. I think I mentioned before, but like the fan remake of Sonic Triple Trouble is really good. And if you are interested in this game, obviously you can play the original, and I really suggest playing the original. But if you really want to, I really suggest playing the fan remake of Sonic Triple Trouble, because they did a lot of work, and honestly, it's a lot of fun to play. I played maybe a little bit of it, but they improved the story. They made it actually connected to the ending to Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I thought that was really neat. They added a lot of different things. Like, I think they added a couple more stages, and not only that, like, they completely changed the boss fights at the end of the game here. Especially if you get all the Chaos Emeralds. They made a Supersonic boss fight at the end, where they come to find out that Fang actually had the 7th Chaos Emerald at the end all along, and he used those Chaos Emeralds on Metal Sonic. Metal Sonic became like a super form, and Sonic had to use the Chaos Emeralds to go super and fight Metal Sonic. I don't know what the Game Gear Games' obsession is with 6 Chaos Emeralds instead of 5. Or 6 Chaos Emeralds instead of 7. I still to this day don't understand that, because like, I think all the Game Gear games have that. Like, there's no 7 Chaos Emeralds at all, any of the Game Gear games. There are always 6. And now we're fighting Eggman again in his giant stamper machine. Seriously, this boss is kind of a joke. I get it. It's only the first form of the final boss, but this boss is kind of silly. It's like you can jump on top of him and just wombo combo him. And now we're on the second phase, and this part of the fight is not as bad. He just keeps going back and forth, and he'll shoot fire at you if you're not too careful. And you just gotta watch out for where you land, and then, you know, keep moving around. Try not to stop in one place where he can shoot his fire at you. It can get a little bit tricky. Best thing I can really suggest is you're probably gonna get hit a lot, so keep your rings as close to you as you can. If you get hit, immediately go after your ring that you lost, because most of the time it just flies upwards instead of like flying off the screen. Like some Sonic games, it's hard to get your ring back if you lose them sometimes. But it seems like in this game, rings kind of keep going in the same spot as usual whenever you get hit, like upwards, so you can kind of get it back really easily. And then phase 3, I think this is the 3rd phase, where he has this electric thing up here, and you just have to hit it once before it... Or that's just phase 2, and it has like additional like phase to it. And this is the 3rd boss of Dr. Eggman. We've already seen this, a giant electric thing in the middle, and it keeps shooting electric balls at you, and it's it's hard to gauge. I can't really say that there's a good spot to hide in this segment because you can hide on the sides. The problem is Eggman keeps alternating between back and forth between the left and right channel, and eventually Eggman's just gonna land on top of you and you're gonna take a hit. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a couple of hits there, get my ring back before I lose it again and I die. But I'm just gonna have to keep juggling a ring back and forth from these electric balls. This is hard. If there's anybody who can suggest an easier way to avoid all this, feel free to comment, because honestly, I'm just brute forcing it at this point. So I don't know what I really don't know a good way to hide away from the boss fight, or to hide away from the boss attacks there. Ah, electric shock. That I know how to dodge. You just have to go whenever it starts to. You can't be greedy with hits on Eggman. If you want to avoid getting hit, you have to go on the other side where Eggman is in order to hide from the electric shock in the middle of the room. I know that how to dodge that, but this is kind of just random, and I don't know how to avoid this without, you know, taking a hit, mostly. And he's going to come up here. I'm going to attack him a couple times. Got 3 hits on him that time. That was enough. That destroyed him. And with that, Eggman tries to run away, and Tails is like, nope, I'm going to take that Chaos Emerald. Thank you very much. Thanks. And Tails goes off. And this time, Tails is the one that gets to free Knuckles. And Tails gives an action for a handshake. We don't get to see Tails and Knuckles' like friendship between too much anymore. They did a good job in the Sonic movies showing that, though. Like, Tails and Knuckles are good friends in the Sonic movies, and I like that about that. I don't get to talk about the Sonic movies very much, because I really like the Sonic movies. But that is the end of Sonic Triple Trouble for the Sega Game Gear. We did the entirety of the game on both playthroughs. I know this video has been really long, and I'm so sorry about that. But I wanted to show off the cool things with Tails, and I don't know. I got to talk to you guys, and that's all that matters to me. I already talked about my thoughts about this game. I think this game is amazing. I think this game is really fun. It's definitely like one of the top 3 games, in my opinion, on the Game Gear. So I think everybody should play it at some point if they're even remotely interested in playing the 8-bit games on Game Gear. This is definitely a game to play. Other than that, I like I mentioned before, go play the Sonic Triple Trouble fan remake if possible. It's really good. It's a 16-bit remake. So it's in the Sonic 3 and Knuckles engine, I think. So if you are interested in that, I would really just go download it and have fun with it. It's fun. Other than that, I really have nothing else to say with this game. I talked you guys' ear off plenty. So I think for the remainder of this segment here, I'm just going to let the credits play again. So, I'll talk to you guys back when we go back to live commentary, Matthew. So, enjoy the rest of the credits. But yeah, guys, that was Sonic the Hedgehog Triple Trouble. I really like this game. I think this game is really fun, and I think everybody should play it at least once. But anyways, in the next episode of Let's Play Sonic Origins Plus, we are going to be looking at the sequel to Sonic Drift, Sonic Drift 2. So with that, I'll see you guys in the next episode.